Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing to my channel. And while you're at it, smash that like button for me. I really would appreciate it. Also, hit that post notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. Be careful down in the comment section of the videos. A lot of spam, a lot of scammers. I will never ask you to contact me by WhatsApp or Telegram. I also do not invest money for my subscribers. So please be careful. Don't get yourself scammed. If you want 3 free stocks, Webull is going to give you 3 free stocks when you open a new Webull brokerage account. Put any amount of money in that brokerage account. They're going to give you 3 free stocks for just trying out their brokerage app. There's a link down in the description box of this video. Go click on that Webull link. Open up that new Webull account today. Go get that free stock. Go get that free money. I'm going to also send you a Webull tutorial video to walk you through how to use the Webull app to make your first trade. All you got to do is send me a DM on Instagram at Richard Fain Millionaire Mentor. And then I'm going to go ahead and send you that Webull tutorial video so that you can start building wealth in 2024. How to make 2024 your best financial year ever. So that's what I want to walk you guys through. Just some golden nuggets that I believe can potentially help you, right? Can potentially put you in a position in 2024 where hopefully you can accomplish the things that you want to accomplish financially in 24. So let me get started, and let's start with, though, I think the most important thing is you have to have goals set. You got to have some goals set, guys. And those goals need to be actionable. They need to be realistic, and they need to be measurable. But in order for us to accomplish what we want to accomplish in 2024, we have to have goals. We can't just wing it. We have to sit down and have an honest conversation with ourselves and ask ourselves, what do we really want to accomplish in 2024? And then when we settle on what we want to accomplish, we got to write those goals down. And then we got to keep those goals in front of us at all times. I like to put mine on the mirror in the bathroom, in my room. That's why I like to keep mine, because every time I'm in there and I'm in that mirror, guess what? My goals are staring right back at me. And it's making me reaffirm each time I look at those goals. It makes me reaffirm my commitment to meeting and exceeding those goals. So that's number one, right? If we want to have the best year ever in 2024 from a financial standpoint, matter of fact, any area of your life, you have to sit down and really be honest with yourself and figure out what you are trying to get accomplished. And like I said, those goals, guys, they have to be measurable. They have to be actionable, and they have to be realistic, right? So I can't make goals that I really don't have any chance of accomplishing, right? So if I'm someone who wants to start building wealth in 2024, and right now my net worth is 0. Let's say my net worth is 0, but I want to end 2024 with, I don't want a negative net worth, and I want to end it with a positive net worth, right? Here's the thing, though. I can't just wake up one morning and say, hey, I want a $10 million net worth. I'm starting from 0, but I want a $10 million net worth when I really lack the financial literacy I need, and I really lack the experience I need in order to be able to become a great investor, to be able to go from 0 to 10 million. So I can't be unrealistic. It has to be realistic. right? I have to say to myself, I got a zero net worth and I got limited financial literacy. What is reasonable? What's realistic, right? And maybe I settle on 250K, right? Maybe I go from zero to 100K or 250K. In my opinion, that's more reasonable, more realistic. Now, don't get me wrong, if you hit a home run and you go to 10 million, great. But the likelihood of that happening, let's be honest with ourselves, is not very good. Not for somebody who has a zero net worth and limited financial literacy, right? So that's what I mean by you have to be reasonable and realistic when you're setting goals, right? And then I got to be able to have some type of action. I have to be able to take action on those goals. I can't sit here and come up with a list of 5 goals, but I take no action on them. But I expect them to come true. I expect to realize those goals. I wanna meet them and exceed them, but I'm not gonna put any action behind it. Yeah, I'm gonna go through the exercise of writing them down, but I don't plan to put any action behind meeting those goals. Then guess what? Don't write the goals down because you're fooling yourself. No sense of you going through the exercise of writing goals down if you're not willing to put some action and put yourself in a position to meet and exceed them. So gotta be actionable, right? Right? There gotta be something that you can take action on every day and get one step closer. So by the time 2024 is over, boom, you're there, right? So gotta be realistic, gotta be actionable, and then the last one is what? Measurable, right? So every single day, I should be able to measure, I should be able to inspect, right? I should be able to inspect my progress. I should be making progress every single day. And I should be able to see that progress. I should be able to measure it. So let's say, for instance, in the month of January, my goal is to create an extra $200 so that I can invest in an ETF. That's one of my goals in January. I want to be able to create an extra $200. So every day in the month of January, I should be doing something to measure how close I am to that $200 goal. I got to be measuring it, guys. I can't just say I want an extra $200 by the end of January, but yet and still, I'm not even inspecting what I expect, right? I expect to have $200 at the end of January, but I got to inspect what I expect. I have to inspect what I expect. That's a part of being able to measure your success, measure how close you're getting to accomplish that goal. So when we sit down and we write these goals out, we got to make sure we got those 3 things in mind. Got to be actionable, got to be measurable, got to be what? Reasonable/realistic. We can't have some, we're on Earth, but we got a goal up there on Mars. Guys, we can't do that. We got to have reasonable, actionable, and measurable goals. That's the first step in having what? A fantastic, an amazing 2024. Because here's the deal. If I don't have a destination, guess what? When I'm on that road, I hit a bump in the road, I'm gonna quit. If I don't have something that's compelling, significant enough, that will get me through when I hit these bumps in the road in 2024, I gotta have something big enough, right? Big enough that overcomes my fear, overcomes my procrastination, right? I gotta have goals that are big enough to get me through when I wanna quit. If I don't have a destination, I'm gonna quit, right? I'm gonna quit because that's how we're wired. Why wouldn't I quit? I got no reason to keep going. Remember, I haven't defined what my destination is. If I don't know what my destination needs to be at the end of 2024, I'm fooling myself. I'm fooling myself. I will quit. As soon as adversity pops its head out of the sand, I'm gonna quit. As soon as somebody throws a little roadblock at me, I'm gonna quit, right? As soon as I put my $25 in this ETF and it went down in value, I'm gonna quit, right? So I gotta have a destination. Before I can do anything, I need to know what my destination is. I need to come up with my goals, and my goals are my destination, right? My goals are my destination. I gotta have that. That's fundamental, or I'm fooling myself. Now let's move on to number 2. The second thing I think you gotta have in place before you can even start chasing anything, right, in 2024. And the question is this: what are your financial principles you want to live by in 2024? What are your financial principles you want to live by? That's what you got to be asking yourself, guys. What set of principles am I going to stand on when I get out here in this real world and I got to build wealth and take care of me and my family? What principles are you going to stand on? What financial principles will you conduct your financial life by in 2024? And here's the nice thing, guys. I'm going to give you 4 that I think you should consider, right? Now, I've sat down. I've written out my goals. I've created a destination for 2024. Where? Destination, AKA my goals. Now, I got to figure out, okay, what type of financial principles should I be living by in 2024 in order to be able to meet those goals? I got to have some type of foundation. And I want to build my foundation on what? Solid rock. I don't want my foundation on sand. Why? Because anytime the little water come, gonna wipe you out. That little sand gonna be gone. But water come and hit that rock, that concrete, it ain't taking it nowhere. So guess what? I gotta have my financial principles. They need to be like a rock. That's my foundation for everything I do in 2024. These financial principles. So I'm gonna give you 4. Now you can create whatever you want to create, but I'm gonna give you the 4 that I think you should be building your goals on, right? This is where I think you should be. Number 1, you gotta live on less than what you make. That's your first financial principle you got to live by in 2024 if you want to meet and exceed those financial goals you set down. If you want to get to that destination, you got to live on less than what you make. How do you do that? Well, number 1 thing you got to do is take a look at, do you make enough money to carry and take care of your expenses? If the answer is no, that's the first place you start. You got to right size that. See, if I'm living on more than what I make, that's a no-no. That's not a good, sound financial principle, right? That's a no-no. I got to live on less than what I make, right? So that's the first financial principle. I got to figure out, am I living on less than what I make? And if I am living on less than what I make, check. I got that first financial principle in order. If I'm not living on less than what I make, then I start there. I gotta figure out, either I gotta get rid of something that I'm spending my money on, or I gotta make more money. Some of us might say, you know something, Richard, hey, everything I'm spending my money on is a need. I got no wants in there. It's all needs. Then you gotta make more money. You gotta get some side hustles. You gotta increase your skill set. Or you're fooling yourself about hitting these financial goals. You guys, our number 1 tool to build wealth is what? Income, right? Income that we make, income that we keep, and then that we multiply. So that first financial principle is I gotta live on less than what I make if I plan on really changing something in my financial life in 2024. I cannot be living on more than what I make and think that I'm finna have a successful 2024. You're delusional. You're not. See, now some of us, and again, guys, this is not to hurl insults at anybody. I'm just trying to be real with you and transparent, because I done been down this road. I've been there. I've been in situations where I was living on more than what I was making. And the credit cards were the safety net. I done been there. And guess what? I couldn't build no wealth. I don't care how much I wanted to build wealth. I don't care how much I daydreamed about building wealth. I'm not going to build wealth if I don't have no income. There is no way. There's no way to build wealth without income. So you have to figure out if you're living on less than what you make, or if you're living on more than what you make. That's the first thing you tackle. Number 2, financial principle. I got to live on a plan. I have to have a plan, a financial budget. So when we're talking about these 4 financial principles, the plan is a budget. You have to have a budget, right? I have to know how much money I have coming in. I have to know how much money is going out. I can't keep it in the filter system, right? Because I forget things when it's in the filter system. I need to actually look at this, whether it be on a spreadsheet you've created on your laptop or on your phone, your smartphone, whether you write it down like I do. I use pencil and paper. I write it down. This is what's coming in. This is where it's going. See, that's my plan. That's my budget. That's my personal budget. Without a personal budget, guys, I'm not sure how you're going to build wealth. Without knowing how much money you got coming in and exactly where it's going when it goes out, if you don't know those things, you're fooling yourself. You're not going to build wealth, because that's a basic financial principle you got to live by. You have to know how much money you got coming in, and you got to know exactly down to the penny where it's going. You do, right? And some of us even need to take it one step further. When we write down all of our expenses, so we done written down all of our income. Now we write down all of our expenses. And here's the thing, we got to be smart enough to know what are needs and what are wants. A lot of us got a lot of wants, right? We got some needs in there, but we got a lot of wants. Got to get my hair done, got to get my nails done. Hey, I got to go play around the golf. Hey, I got to go out on Friday nights, Saturday nights, and hang out with my friends and have a good time. I worked hard all week. I got a budget for that. I gotta have my fun time. I gotta have my me time. Oh, I gotta have money to travel. You know, I gotta do all. Listen, guys, let me tell you something. You can go ahead and have your enjoyment now. You pay for it later. You can enjoy now, but you will pay for it later when you get to be my age or older. All I'm telling you is you're going to have to sacrifice something in the short term to have everything you want in the long term. You just are. You're going to have to sacrifice something in the short term. For me, when I was 26 years old, I decided to sacrifice that stuff in the short term. Because guess what? I was spending way too much money on leisure and activities and going out and hanging out at happy hours and all this other crap. Traveling unnecessarily, excessive travel, all that. I was spending way too much money on that stuff. And guess what? I found myself at the end of the month with no money. So how am I going to be able to build wealth? I can't. If I ain't got no money at the end of the month, ain't no building no wealth. I'm going to be a paycheck to paycheck guy for the rest of my life. Paycheck to paycheck gal for the rest of my life. So I'm telling you something, you better figure out what wants versus needs are. And then align your budget with just needs. Give up the wants. You got to give up something in the short term, because the only way you get to wealth is what? You got to have income to be able to invest in something to grow it. And if I got no money left over at the end of the month, well, I got nothing to invest, so therefore I get no growth. So that second financial principle is, live on a plan, which is your personal budget. Guys, if you're not doing that exercise, please start doing it. Please be honest with yourself. Please sit down and be honest with yourself. See, a lot of us, we live in some la-la land. We live in some far distant make-believe land somewhere. We do. We think something is going to magically change. We're going to go to sleep and wake up and, ooh, golly, I'm going to be, no. See, that's make-believe. That's Disneyland. That's fairy dust. That ain't how the real world works. No one cares if you get to wealth. They're too busy caring about whether they get to wealth. No one cares. If you don't care, no one else cares. So all I'm telling you is figure out what you want to do. You will not have an amazing 2024 if you don't have no income to invest. You're not going to have it. That's just the truth. I don't care what nobody tells you. You got to have income in order to invest, to build assets. And assets that at some point in the future will generate passive income. And it starts with these financial principles that I'm taking you through. So number one, live on less than what you make. Number two, what? I got to live on a plan. I got to have a personal budget, and I got to be laser focused and know exactly where every dime's going. Because if I ain't got no money left over at the end of the month, I can't build wealth. I got to have money left over at the end of the month. And I've already told you, if you don't got money left over at the end of the month, you better cut some of those wants out, or you got to make more money. Those are your only two choices. There is no other choice. It's either cut out unnecessary wants out of your budget so you can free up cash flow, or you got to go out and get you some side hustles or increase your high income skill set to make more money. That's it. I don't care how many videos you see on YouTube, people talking about all this stuff you can do. Listen, man, that's all talk. That's all talk. When the rubber meets the road is when you decide you're going to do something to change it in your life. I don't care what people say on YouTube, right? Because if I haven't made up in my filter system, I'm ready to change my behavior with money. It doesn't matter. I can read all the books I want to read. I can listen to all the YouTube videos I want to. I can go to all the seminars. I can go to the webinars. I can do all of that and feel good about myself. But if I don't have some fundamental financial principles in place that are the rock that I stand on, the financial rock that I stand on, I'm going to get swept away. The first little rainstorm come, I'm going to be gone. I'll be gone. So don't build your house on sand. Build your financial house on a solid foundation, rocks, concrete. And these 4 financial principles are that, right? So let's move to number 3. Third financial principle is stay out of consumer debt. A lot of us believe we can have a ton of consumer debt and still believe we can get to wealth. We can't. You know why we can't? Because that consumer debt, number one is a liability. Guess what I got to do? I got to feed that liability every single month. And how do I feed it? I got to take my cash flow and feed it. Why? Because it's a liability. It's a debt that doesn't produce any income, right? It's a debt that produces no income. And every dollar you're spending or feeding to service that liability, that debt that produces no income, is taken away from you building wealth. That's why I tell you guys, you got to figure out a way to how to get out of consumer debt. Because see, there's where your cash flow is. That $700 you're spending on that car payment, that's $8,000 a year. That could be going in an S&P 500 ETF that tracks the S&P 500 index. Compounding, growing. That's $8,000 a year. That $8,400 a year. That could be. That's what I'm telling you guys. We got to stay out of consumer debt. These credit cards, where people are maxed to their eyeballs, right? Maxed to their eyeballs with these high interest rates. I had one of my subscribers sent me a DM, and she was telling me about a situation. She has a car, and she's behind 2 months on the car note, and it just ain't good, man. It just ain't good. She's upside down in the car, so she can't even really sell it. She's upside down in it. She's upside down, behind 2 months on the payments, but she's still trying to figure out a way to make this thing work. So she may be, Toro in the car or doing something to try to create some cash flow so she can right-size this thing and hopefully get out of it. But that's what I'm telling you guys. And again, I'm not picking on her, and I'm not saying this is her situation. I'm just talking broadly. What happens is most folks, when times are good, instead of them taking that money and putting it in something that can build net worth so they can lean on when times are hard, what they do is when times are good, they go out and buy all these depreciating assets. They go out and buy all these things that don't mean crap when you hit a wall. I'm not saying she did that. I'm just telling you in general, that's what most folks do. People get a little windfall. Guess what? The first thing they do, they take that windfall and do what with it? Go make somebody else wealthy. That's what most people do. They get the windfall. They don't say, I'm going to get this windfall and I'm going to put 80% of it in something that's going to multiply it over the next 10 years. And I'm going to take 20% and might splurge. It's the other way. They take 80% and go buy depreciating assets to make somebody else wealthy. And then they have a few crumbs left over. And they're looking at like, well, shoot, this little money ain't going to be, it ain't. It ain't going to do anything for you. So all I'm telling you guys is you got to stay out of consumer debt. Whatever you got to do to get yourself out of consumer debt, of course, legal, do it. Side hustles. That's the number one thing I tell people when they ask me, well, what can I do to get out of all this debt? Go make more money. What am I going to do? Drive Uber, drive Lyft, DoorDash it. I don't know, go rent your pressure washer and on the weekends, go knock on doors and say, hey man, let me pressure wash your driveway, your patio, $200. Do something. But see, that's the problem with us though. See, we too, we live in a society where nobody don't want, I can't let nobody know I'm pressure washing somebody's driveway on the weekends. On my status, I'm a principal, I'm a school teacher, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a janitor, I'm a whatever it is, right? Because every industry, every occupation has people that live paycheck to paycheck. I don't care if you're a principal, you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you're a garbage man, you're whatever. All walks of life, people living paycheck to paycheck in this country. But see, people feel like some of these side hustles beneath them. That's beneath me to drive Uber. I'm not going to do it. I can tell y'all right now, there's a really well-known YouTube guy that I respect a lot. He drove Uber when times got hard for him back in the day. Now the guy is, who knows? He's just to the moon right now, right? My point is, we got to stop being so proud. See, pride gonna keep us broke. See, pride is gonna keep us broke. See, that's one of the financial killers. Pride, greed, and fear are your three financial killers. Pride gonna keep us broke. Gonna keep us on that hamster wheel. Gonna keep us in that rat race longer than we should be in there. So what I'm telling you guys is you have to eliminate the consumer debt. It's gonna take you longer to get to wealth with consumer debt. Credit card debt, these car loans, anything you got that you paying a payment on that don't produce no income, you need to get rid of it. The only thing I recommend people keep when it comes to debt, if it's debt that you took out to buy an asset and that asset is generating cash flow to pay for the debt, I'm okay with that debt. That's smart debt because it has an income stream attached to it. Bad debt has no income stream. You're the income stream, right? That's bad debt. If I gotta take money out of my pocket every month and pay for something, that's bad debt. It is. Real estate for income, a business that you started, that you had to take out debt and you put that money into this asset and now it's generating cash flow. Not only is it repaying the debt, but it's also putting money in your pocket. That's smart debt. Any debt you have that's not putting money in your pocket is bad debt and you need to get rid of it. It's going to keep you on the hamster wheel and it's going to keep you in the rat race. That's the third financial principle, guys. You gotta button down if you want to have a fantastic 2024. And again, a lot of people are going to say, well, how do I get out of the debt? Make more money. Guys, if it was easy, would nobody in America be in debt? If it was easy, we would not have $1.3 trillion in credit card debt. If it was easy, we wouldn't have $1.6 trillion in student loan debt. If it was easy, we wouldn't have almost $2 trillion in auto loan debt. It ain't easy. See, but we all looking for shortcuts. See, when I tell people that, when they say, well, how do I get rid of the debt? Like it's some magical potion out there, some magical formula. I don't care what y'all hear on YouTube, man. It comes down to income, baby. That's what it comes down to. I don't care what little trick, this, send me this, send me that. I don't care, guys. It comes down to income. More income you make and keep, the better off you are. The more income you make and spend, you're not better off. You're broke. That's it. It comes down to what you do with your income. If you ain't making no income, guess what? You're fooling yourself. You got to go out and make income. I get this all the time from people. Hey, I ain't got no job. How do I build wealth? You don't. You don't build wealth. You got no income. How you going to build wealth when you got no income? Oh, I got an idea. Well, turn that idea into some cash. Ideas are nothing if it ain't got no cash associated with it. If ain't no cash being generated by your idea, it's just an idea. I need cash flow associated with my ideas. At some point, I can't just be an idea guy or gal. I got to be somebody who can take an idea and turn it into what? Cash flow. And that's what you'll have to do if you're in this consumer debt thing. It's about income, right? If I don't make enough income and I got all this debt, I got to go make more income. I don't care if you got to work 20 hours a day and sleep for a period of time. See, that's the price you got to pay, man, if you want financial freedom, guys, in some cases. Because wherever you're at today financially, guess who put you there? You. Oh, I know we like to blame other folks. Government, my boss, I ain't got this, I ain't got that. First step is take accountability for your own situation you're in today. Take accountability. Go look in that mirror and say, no, I'm the reason I'm where I'm at today financially. But I'm also the reason I can get out of this thing, right? You got to do that, guys. We got to stop being in denial and blaming other folks. We love to blame other people for our own problems we've created for ourselves. We want to blame others. Stop that. Stop it. We got to stop blaming people for our decisions and choices we made in the past and in the present, right? So let's move on to the fourth financial principle. We got to save and invest. And we're going to talk about invest later, but let's talk a little bit about saving and then we're going to move on. Guys, we got to have at least a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. See, that's what, when I say saving, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a rainy day fund. You do know 61% of people, Americans, live paycheck to paycheck. That means they got no rainy day fund. The rainy day fund was their credit cards. But now credit cards are at an all-time high. So a lot of people don't even have that as a rainy day fund anymore. If they lose their job, they're financially destroyed. 1 month without a paycheck, they're financially destroyed. That's no way to live, guys. That is no way to live in fear of losing your job and well, what if you got a crap job and people are, you know, and you don't want to be there anymore. That's the worst thing. That's the worst feeling in the world, in my opinion, is to have to go into a job every day that you hate. And it physically makes you sick when you get up in the morning. Your body physically starts to reject putting on clothes and brushing your teeth and getting in your car. Listen, man, the only way you get yourself out of that hole, the only way you get out of that hole is you gotta have assets. Assets save you. Because guess what? If I got assets, if I got an emergency fund, if I got money, if I got things that I can lean on, I can leave that job and go find me another one. But if I ain't got none of that, oh, I can't leave that. That's the last thing I want to try to do is leave a job, because if I go 1 month without a paycheck, I'm done. So all I'm telling you guys is do everything in your power to get your emergency fund put together. It should be 3 to 6 months of your expenses. I'm not talking about your want expenses, your need expenses. 3 to 6 months. Get that in place. Again, how do I get an emergency fund in place? Make more money and keep it. Live on less than what you make. Live on a plan. See, all of those things kind of go hand in hand. See, you can't do the fourth one, which is save and invest, unless you do the top three. Some of y'all got that. You cannot do number 4, financial principle, unless you do the top 3. Live on less than what you make, live on a plan, which is a personal budget, and stay out of consumer debt. You got to do those first 3 things in order to have the 4th thing, right? So get those first 3 things right, and I guarantee you, if you get those 3 things right, you will not have a problem. You will not have a problem saving 3 to 6 months. You'll probably have more than that. And then you definitely won't have a problem with the investment piece, which we're going to get to in a second. So we've talked about 2 things right now that we need to be ready for and have in place if we're going to have this best 2024 from a financial standpoint ever, right? We've talked about that. We talked about goals, AKA destination, right? We talked about that. Setting our goals, which is the same thing as having a destination, right? We set our goals, same thing as having a destination. We talked about those goals need to be realistic, they need to be actionable, and they need to be measurable. They need to pass through those 3 buckets. Those 3 buckets, your goals need to go through. You need to take every one of them goals and take them through those 3 buckets. Is it measurable? Can I measure my progress every single day? Is it actionable? Can I actually take tangible, actionable steps every day to get there? And then is it realistic? Can I really do this? Can I really hit this goal? Right? You got to take it through those 3 buckets, right? Every single goal. And then number 2, we just finished. You got to have financial principles to stand on, to put your goals on. And they got to be, it's like a rock. Can't be sand, right? They got to be able to withstand the pressure that's going to come your way in 2024 to quit. You got to have financial principles that you got cloaked on yourself, so that when adversity come at you, you're living these financial principles. I'm already living on less than what I make. I'm already living on my plan. I'm already out of consumer debt, or on my way to getting out of consumer debt. See, if you got those things on, that armor on, guys, any adversity that come your way, you're going to shrug it off. You're going to go through it. You won't quit. But if you don't have those financial principles wrapped around you, and that adversity come at you, you're going to quit. You're going to quit. So let's move on to number 3. Let's talk about the plan, right? So we talked about in step 2, to live on a plan, which is a personal budget. This plan I'm talking about right now is the plan to actually hit these goals, right? You got to actually have a daily plan. When you get up in the morning, you got to have an action list. And on that action list should be everything you're going to be doing to get yourself 1 step closer. Got to have an action list. And it looks a little bit something like this. Okay, this is my goal. My goal is I want to increase my net worth by $500,000 in 2024. That's Richard Fain's goal. I want to increase my net worth by $500,000. Now I got to put a plan together to get there. Okay, first thing I got to do, I got to sit down and say, well, okay, how much money will I need to invest every single month in order to get myself to a point where I can increase the net worth by $500,000? What do I got to do? How much money? See, it all goes back to money, guys. All goes back to income, right? Right? How much do I need? How much do I need? Okay, I need to invest $25,000 a month. And I need to put it in something that's going to give me X amount of return so I can get the growth that I need. So if I'm gonna put 25,000 a month in, I'm putting in $300,000. But I also got to find a mechanism to put that $300,000 in order to grow it to 500,000. Now, all of this don't have to be cash, right? I can actually go out and leverage a smaller amount of money, buy an asset, and then that asset grows. So I can do that. I can take a small amount of money and start me a business, right? I can start me a business in 2024 with a fraction of this $500,000 I want to grow my net worth to. With a fraction of that money, I can start a business as long as I have a solution to solve someone's problem. And guess what I can do? Guess what I can do? I can leverage that small amount of money. I can leverage it into the $500 of net worth that I want to grow my net worth by. I can do that. So you don't necessarily always just have to have money to do it. You got to have a small amount of money, or you can have a large amount of money. That's up to you. But you got to sit down and put your plan together to figure that out. You got to figure out how much money you're going to need to invest to get to what? Your financial goals. And again, it doesn't always have to be cash. It can be you taking an idea and turning that idea into something that's worth $500,000 or that creates $500,000 in revenue. That's what I did with my business when I started in 2020. It started out with zero revenue. Zero. In the first year, I went from zero revenue to over 200,000. The second year, I went from the 200,000 that I did the previous year to over $500,000. And then it just kept going. How did I do that? I found a solution to solve people's problems. That's it. That's it. So I don't always have to have a bunch of money, guys, but I got to be smart the way I go about increasing my net worth. It doesn't always have to be just, oh, I don't have $100,000 to put in VOO. It don't have to be that. Figure out another way to increase your net worth through assets. Figure out how to leverage the small amount of money you do have and turn it into a large amount of net worth. But you got to have a plan. You have to sit down and understand exactly what it's going to take you to invest, whether it be money, right? Just cash, or it could be a small amount of cash that you plan on leveraging into something bigger. But you got to figure that out. You got to have a plan, and you have to have that plan written out, and you have to be executing on that plan every single day, right? But you got to have a plan. If we don't have a plan, right? If we don't have a plan, then we're fooling ourselves. We're fooling ourselves. If we think we're just going to get up every morning and just kind of figure it out that morning, oh, I don't need no plan. I'm just going to get up and, every day I'll just kind of spend 10 minutes a morning and just kind of think about it in the filter system and I'm going to go out and make it happen. No, that's not going to happen. Not for 99% of us. Now, there may be a rare breed of folk out there, 1%, that can do that. But most of us, we can't do that. We can't do that. We ain't going to do it. We're not going to commit to it. Right? We gotta have a real plan. And that's what I help people with in my company, RF Financial Consulting, honestly, guys. I help people put those plans together. It's a 1-hour financial session that I do, and I help them put that plan together. So you don't have to do it all on your own. You can go out and have someone else help you with it. You can do it on your own, or you can come to a guy like me and say, hey man, this is what I want to accomplish in 24. And I need some help putting a cohesive plan together that I can actually, follow. And then I can sit down with you via Skype, via the phone, however, and we can go through and we can help put that plan together. Take those financial puzzle pieces and put it into a cohesive plan, right? So if you're interested in that, certainly my email address is down in the description box of this video. Just go down to the description box and send me an email and say, hey, send me some information on what it would take for me to get a financial session with you for an hour. And I'll send you an email and let you know what the requirements are and what I require and what I charge and all that stuff. But the plan is important, guys. It's extremely important. So please, if you plan to succeed in 2024, put a good plan together, right? Put a good plan together. Now let's move on to number 4, which is execute. Now we've put the plan together, right? We've put our plan together. Now we got to execute it. This is the hard part, guys. Execution is the hard part because it requires us to get uncomfortable. It requires us to give up something. Remember I told you them 20 hours a week? 20 hours a day. See, sometimes it takes that. If I'm going to execute on my plan to go from 0 to whatever my net worth I want to go to in a year, it takes a commitment, right? So execution is important. For me, when I was 26 years old and I made the decision that, by the time I was 50, I was going to be free, right? As a matter of fact, it was 30 years old. When I was 30 years old, I made the decision. I said, okay, 20 years, I'm going to be free. I'm going to be out of the rat race. I'm going to stop the hamster wheel and step off of it. And I'm going to control my own financial destiny. I'm going to take back my financial power. And guess what? I'm going to own 100% of my time. That's what I said when I was 30 years old. I said, at 50, this is what's going to happen. And so what did I do? I put a plan together. And that plan consisted of what? Number 1, these 4 financial principles I took you through. That's what the plan started. That's the first part of the plan. Live by these 4 financial principles every single day until you get to freedom. Live by it. That was step 1. Step 2 was measure every single day what you're doing in order to get one step closer. So what I would do is every night before I went to bed, I would have a recap session with myself. And the recap session was simply this. What did you do today to get yourself one step closer? What did you do? What did you do to get yourself one step closer to your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? And see, I held myself accountable. See, execution requires accountability, guys. If you don't hold yourself accountable, you will not execute. You will not consistently execute. So therefore, you won't get to the goals you set for yourself in 24. So you got to hold yourself accountable. And that's what I used to do every single night before I closed my eyes and went to bed. I would sit there. I would think to myself, what did I do today to get one step closer? What did I learn? How much money did I make? Where did I invest it? What did I research? How am I going to take that research and apply it to my financial life? That's all part of execution, guys. Who else do I need to go and have help me execute this? Maybe they can't physically be there to help me, but I can get me a gang of 5 where I can find people who already where I want to be. That's my gang of 5. Let me go listen to them. Let me go study them and then take them golden nuggets. And guess what? Put them in my plan and then execute. See, a lot of us, a lot of times discourage ourselves because we think we got to do it all on our own. No, you don't. Go out and get your gang of 5. That's what I do. When I don't know how to do something, guess what I do? I go to my gang of 5. Matter of fact, I got multiple gangs of 5. I got guys on YouTube don't even know they in my gang of 5. They don't even know it. And I go to those guys right through their YouTube videos, and guess what I do? I learn. Oh, okay, I see the way he did that. Let me put my spin on it and do it this way. That's a gang of 5. Right? If I want to know something about investing in the stock market, I got a gang of 5. People I can go to. They don't even know they're in my gang of 5. See, this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. You can create a gang of 5 for every area of your life if that's what you want. You ain't got to be out here rolling solo if you don't want to. Don't make this thing harder than it really is. The key, though, is when you do grab a gang of 5, they need to be people who are already where you want to be. And they have to be legit. Can't be none of these fake gurus showing Lambos and all this stuff and don't own none of that stuff, right? Can't be these fake gurus. Got to be real people, authentic people. Do your research on them. With the internet, guys, it's not hard to find if somebody's faking it till they make it. It's not hard. if you just spend the time and do the research. It's right there. It's right in front of you. And then always look at this when you're picking out your gang of five. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. That's how I look at it. If it just seems it don't even belong on this planet, it probably don't belong on this planet. That's the way I look at it. But execution is the key to all of this, right? We got to be able to execute, and we have to be able to execute efficiently. So those recaps I used to do before I went to bed was really, really good for me, because that was a time I could really be honest with myself. Richard, you didn't do crap today. You didn't do crap. You had a chance to do something, but you chose to do this over here. You chose to do this. Guess what? That's putting you one step further from financial freedom. You lost today. Now you're gonna have to work extra in order to catch up. So I would hold myself accountable, and it was really, really good for me. It was really good for me. Try it. You might find that it's helpful for you, but execution is extremely important, guys. You gotta get laser focused on execution if this thing is gonna work. And then let's talk about number 5, which is the granddaddy of them all, which is investing. See, we can do these other 4 things, but the investing piece is where the rubber meets the road, right? And if you guys have followed my channel for any period of time, you'll know the big 3 is my investment of choice. Businesses, real estate for income, stock market through paper assets. Those are my 3. Now, you may have different things you want to put your money in to multiply, and that's okay. But these 3 things, from my experience, is where most people make their money or they hold their money in these 3 asset classes. Just no better asset classes out there to build wealth, guys. So from an investment standpoint, when you're out here living on less than what you make, living on the personal budget, so you got money left over at the end of the month, you ain't got no consumer debt that's actually taking money out of your pocket, not putting money in your pocket, right? You don't have any of that. You've already got the emergency fund tucked away, right? So you got the rainy day fund tucked away. Now it's time to invest. It's time to invest. And investing is a personal thing, right? For me, I told you, it was the big 3, right? It was ETFs, index funds, and individual stocks on the paper asset side. And what did I do? Every single month, I would take a certain amount of money and I would just put it in dollar cost average every single month. And I just did that for 20 years. Just did it for 20 years. Just head down, kept plugging away. I don't care if the market was up. I don't care if it was down. I don't care if it was in the middle. I just kept doing it. Why did I keep doing that? Because I knew through research and through looking at history tells me if I do that long enough, the chance of me building wealth is much greater than if I randomly did it. Okay, today I think I'll put 5,000 in. Oh, I won't put another 5,000 in for a year. You got a dollar cost average in, because some months you're going to buy high, some months you're going to buy low. But what history has taught us, if I do it over time, I'm going to buy my investments, my paper assets, at a cheaper price over time. So when I get ready to go sell them, right, I make more money because I bought them at a lower value and I sell them at a higher value. But I got to do that through dollar cost averaging over time. Again, guys, I'm not an expert here. I'm not your financial advisor. Go out and do your own research. But from my research and from what I've done over the last 20 plus years, it's worked. And I don't get fancy with my investments. Y'all know I'm a S&P 500 guy, right? I'm a total stock market guy. And then I got a couple of sectors that I like. The tech sector and the healthcare sector. So that's pretty much where 80 to 100% of my investment in paper asset goes, to those few things. S&P 500 ETF, total stock market ETF, right? And then sector ETF, like a tech sector ETF, or a healthcare sector ETF, and then some individual stocks. That's it. That's all I did for 20 plus years, and that's all I do now. I don't do anything fancier than that. The key, though, is understanding how much money you need to put in those investments and what type of historical return those investments have produced, and then do the math, right? Do the math. If I take $1,000 a month, right, for the next 10 years, I take $1,000 a month for the next 10 years, and I put it in something that'll give me an 8% annualized rate of return. At the end of that 10 years, I should almost have a couple $100,000 in that account. That's the power of what? Compounding, right? Growth over time. So that's what you got to really get in tune to is okay, if I want $1 million in the next 10 years and I'm going to use paper assets to do it, it would behoove you to know how much money I need to invest into paper assets and at what rate of return will I need and how long will I have to do it in order to get to whatever I want to get to. That's the key. So if you do that, that gives you a really good opportunity to use paper assets to get where you want to go. Now, real estate is similar, right? Real estate is similar. This is what I did with real estate. It wasn't very complicated. All I said to myself was, when I'm all done with this, I want to be able to create $1 million in net worth from my real estate portfolio. Now, that didn't mean I got to go out and buy some 100-unit apartment complex or some fancy smancy. Didn't mean that. All it meant was I need to buy one single family home every 2 years, put a tenant in it, make sure that property is in a location where people have a desire to live, because that's what makes the value go up when people have a desire to live there. That's what makes property values go up when people want to live there and they're willing to pay more to live there. That's what makes prices go up. That's what makes property go up in values when there's a demand for that area and people want to live there so bad, they're willing to pay more than what the last guy paid. That's real estate, guys. It's that simple. So what I did was I said, you know something? I'm going to find neighborhoods where people have a desire to live. Decent schools, low crime rate, right? People that are making money above the minimum wage. And I'm not knocking people who are making minimum wage. I'm just saying the type of real estate I bought, people had to be able to afford it. And so for me, I wanted people with, you ain't got to be a millionaire, but I wanted people that were making good salaries with good jobs and could stay in the house, right? Because that made the property values go up. So that's what I did. I would buy in these neighborhoods that had good schools, low crime, close proximity to, walking areas and commercial establishments so people could go out and hang out and do things like that. I would buy real estate in those communities. I also would never buy a piece of real estate in a community that I wouldn't live in. That was the measuring stick for me. If I wouldn't live there, I didn't buy it. But every 2 years, I would buy one of those properties. And I wouldn't buy them cash. I would go to the bank and I'd use 5-to-1 leverage. I'd say, okay, bank, I got good credit. I got good job. I got verifiable income. I want to buy this piece of real estate right here and I want to put a tenant in it. Here's what I can expect to get in rent. Here's what I can expect to pay in expenses. And you can see that it's a profitable transaction. Plus, you can look at my credit history. You can look at my income. You can look at my assets and see that I'm a credible borrower. And guess what I would do? I had no problems. I would always get the loan. I would give them 20% down. They would give me 80%. That's 5-to-1 leverage. And I just did that every 2 years. And here was the goal. Each property that I bought, the goal was hold it long enough where it increased in value by $100,000. That's it. If it did more, great. But that was the goal. Hold that property long enough. And while I hold the property, guess what I would get? I would get rental income from the tenants, right? You got to remember, guys, I was buying these houses in good, solid neighborhoods, not rich neighborhoods, not, just good, solid working folk neighborhoods where people had a desire to live, where they wanted to keep their homes and their neighborhood clean and nice and without crime and all that crap. I would just buy in those neighborhoods, and then I would put a tenant in that property, right? And how did I find my tenants? Well, I looked for tenants that had a similar outlook on life that I had when it came to financials. See, I got a right to screen my tenant. I don't know about you, but I got a right to screen my tenant. And it's my property. I get to say who goes in there. So if you don't want to give me a background check, you don't want to let me check your credit, if you don't want to give me your employment history, nice meeting you, go to the next guy. I don't need you. I'm going to do all of those things. I'm going to check your background. I'm going to pull the credit bureau on you. And I'm going to look at your employment history. Because I want people in there who have taken care of their financial responsibilities. Because that's how I keep myself out of the weeds and I get my rent check. See, when you go to having problems with all these tenants and stuff like that, that's because we took shortcuts, right? If you want to buy in a neighborhood that has a history of people not paying, well, you should know that, right? You should know that. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, they're not paying me. Well, they didn't pay the last guy. Did you do a background check on them? Did you do a credit check on them, right? Did you do an employment verification? Did you do all of that? No, I needed the cash flow and they were ready to pay me first, last, and security deposit. I took it. Now you got a problem child on your hands and you can't get them out of there, especially if you're in a state that is not a landlord-friendly state. You get in one of these states that are a tenant-friendly state, oh my goodness, they'll be in there for a whole year and don't pay you. See, I ain't got that problem here in the state of Florida. It's a landlord-friendly state. 45 days, you out of there. So my point is this. I would take these properties, I would buy one every 2 years. And the goal was to get $100,000 in capital appreciation over however long I needed to hold the property, right? Sooner the better, but I was willing to hold it. Every 2 years I would do that. So guess what? I ended up with about 10 of those properties over a 25-year period. And guess what? 100,000 in equity on average between all of them. There's my $1 million net worth. Just like that, over a period of time. Doing what? Buying great single-family properties in solid neighborhoods, putting tenants in them, collecting cash flow, paying the expenses out of the cash flow, and whatever was left, I didn't go spend it. I would put it in a reserve fund, and I just kept stacking the cash. So anytime something broke, or anytime I needed to get a new AC, or get a new roof, or pay the tax, they had no problems with any of that because I had a reserve. I didn't take the money and spend it on making somebody else wealthy. I kept it in reserve so that I could use it on the next property, or I could put it back into that property to beautify it, or do some cosmetic improvements to it. So over a 20-year period, 25-year period, that's what I did. Rinse and repeat. And at the end of my time, when I started selling those properties around 2014, I think I sold my last one in 2021, just created a 7-figure net worth for me. Just like that, by being patient, not trying to be fancy, doing one thing and one thing only. One single family home at a time, good neighborhood, put a tenant in it, be patient. Don't spend the cash flow. Put it in reserve, pour it back into the properties. So when it's time to sell them, they look great. They ain't got to be brand new. They just look great. They're functional. They look nice. Not some rundown piece of crap that I got to now go scramble and get $30,000, $40,000 to put money into it. Do that all the way along the way, right? That way at the end, when it's time to get rid of it, bam, it's turnkey. It's ready to go. Why? Because I had to reserve cash to do that because I didn't spend it. A lot of us, we buy real estate and we spend every single dime that's left on what? Creating and making somebody else wealthy. But the point I'm trying to make there is I used real estate over that 25-year period to create a 7-figure net worth. I used the stock market over 20+ years to create a 7-figure net worth. By the time I got to 50 years old, boom, I got a really nice 7-figure, multi-7-figure net worth. Now I can do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. That's what I'm telling you. Where does the business come in? And then I'm going to let you guys out of here. I'm going to get out of here myself. I know some of y'all have already dipped out, but again, this conversation is healing for me and is needed for me. So whoever's listening, whoever's getting this information, I hope it's helpful, but it's helpful to me too, right? It's helpful to me too. So the last thing was the business, Remember I talked about the big three. This is a part of the investment piece that you're going to need to work on in order to reach those financial goals for 2024. So the business piece was like, okay, I always wanted to start a business, but I'm a conservative guy. So I was a little bit, I don't know if I want to do that. I got this nice cushy job. It's in banking. I'm making good money. I got connections. What do I want to leave that? So for years, I just said, I'm just going to stay where I'm at. I'm doing great with the real estate. I'm doing great with the stock market investments. I don't want to upset the apple cart. But the plan all along, like I mentioned earlier, was at 50 to exit banking, get out of that rat race, get off that treadmill, right? Get off of that hamster wheel. So at 50, that's what I started putting in place to do. And by the time I was 51, I was out of there. But when I was transitioning out of there, I said to myself, I don't want to just go home and do nothing. I want to be able to take the skill set that I've developed over the last 25 years, whether it be real estate investing, self-directed investing in the stock market through paper assets where you do it on your own. This 25 years of banking experience that I have, where I've met so many people and from so many walks of life and was able to hear their stories and how they built wealth and all this stuff, how they started their businesses and all this stuff, right? So I said, I want to take my hand. I want to try this. I want to try this. So what I did was I said, okay, what's your skill set? Well, here's my skill set right here. Banking, real estate investing for income, stock market investing on your own, right? I'm not a licensed investment advisor. I just did it on my own, right? That's the skill set. Okay, that's the skill set. Well, can that skill set solve a problem? Can that skill set solve a problem? And I said to myself, well, I don't know, maybe. How do I find out? Okay, here's how you find out. Make some content, put it out to the world, and see who responds. Right? That was the test. The test was, okay, find you a platform where you can make some content, put that content out in the world, and see who responds. So I said, okay, well, what do I use? Well, you're already doing YouTube with your little car videos. Right? At the time, I had some really nice luxury cars, right? And I was making little YouTube videos on my luxury cars and kind of putting them out there on YouTube just to kind of, find me a little audience of people and find me a community of people who like cars. I had a Ferrari, I had the GT3, I had a M5, I had some nice stuff. So I said, okay, I'm making these little car videos and people are asking me in the comment section of the car videos, hey man, I like the cars, but how did you get the cars? What do you do for a living? Because I never told people what I did for a living in the car videos in the beginning. I never told people what I did for a living or how I made the money. I just did the little car videos and put them up. So I said to myself, maybe instead of doing these car videos, I'll start doing some of these financial videos, but I'll incorporate the cars into it because that's what people know me by. So I'll incorporate the cars with the financial, put them all together, put it out on YouTube and see who responds. And that's what I started doing in 2019 before I left banking. I said, I got to prove the concept before I leave and make sure this is a viable business for me to start. So that's what I started doing in 2019. I'd go on my lunch break. I'd go to my car. I'd go to a little empty parking lot, shoot me a little video in the car, get back in the car, grab something for lunch, go back to the office, get home at night, edit the video. And then by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, I'd put the video live on YouTube. And I did that for about 8 months in 2019. And by the end of 2019, the concept was proven because people were starting to say, yeah, man, your solution, it's solving my problem. I got a financial literacy problem. And what you talked about in that real estate video helped me. It hit home with me. What you talked about in that stock market video, it hit home. I didn't know I could do this on my own. I didn't know I could just take a small amount of money and dollar cost it. That's what it started doing. And it just kept picking up, right? So I said at the end of 2019, I said, okay, concept proven. I'm leaving banking. I've already built my wealth. I got a nest egg. I can always go back to banking if this thing falls on its face. Because I know I had a skill set that I could always go back because I was a really good banker. So that's what I did. I quit banking. I gave my 2-week notice and I can remember my senior lender, who was my boss at the time. When I told him that, he was like, what? You finna give up a 25-year banking career where you're making over 6 figures, you're making a great salary, bonuses, all this. You give this up to go do YouTube videos? And I said, yeah, man, I think I can make it work. And he said, well, okay, man, go get it. I'm rooting for you. And that's what I did. So January 1, 2020, I went full-time making these videos. My point in telling you that, guys, is because anything's possible. Anything's possible if we put our mind to it. I'm not the best YouTuber on YouTube. I don't make the best videos, but I don't care about any of that because I know what I have to say will reach somebody. I don't care if it reach one person. See, I know how to make money. I know how to make money. I know how to make money in real estate. I know how to make money in the stock market, right? I can go back to banking if that's what I wanted to do, but I choose to do this. And my point here is helping people. See, if you help enough people get what they want, this is what this whole YouTube thing has taught me. If you help enough people get what you want, get what they want, you will ultimately get what you want. So if you want to start a business, guys, you have to have a solution that solves problems, right? It has to be a solution that solves problems. You don't have to have a whole bunch of money. Even though I had money, I didn't really put any money into starting my business. I really didn't. All I needed was a little camera or an iPhone and boom, the content. So I didn't have a lot of money. I had a skill set. I had a solution. I did have that. So that's why I'm telling you, you don't necessarily have to have a lot of money to start a business, but you do have to have a solution. You do have to have something that solves problems for people. It could be a product or a service, but it has to solve problems. And if you can do that, and you can let people know your solution is out there, and the way I did it was through this whole social media YouTube thing. And I tell people all the time, if you have a solution to solve problems, the best way to sound the horn, get on social media and just start making videos about your solution and putting them out to the world. That's what I would do. I would just start making videos about, if I'm a truck driver and I want to teach other people how to be a truck driver, guess what? I start making videos about truck driving. Exactly what I do, what I did, what type of truck I use. I would just keep making videos, chronicling my day, telling people what I do. And guess what? Before you know it, there's going to be an audience of people that be like, you know something, that's good to know. I want to start a trucking business. I want to buy my own truck and get on the road, long haul, whatever. I don't care what the solution is. If you believe it can solve problems, put it online. Use these platforms like YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever else they got out there. Use them. Use those platforms to sound the horn. People, world, I got a solution that perhaps can solve your problem. And that's all I did. That's how I started my business. That's how my business has continued to run. 4 years later, I'm going into my 5th year of doing this financial education thing on YouTube. My 5th year. Has it changed? Yes. But the people are still there. Like I said, I'm not the very best YouTube. I don't get the most views and all that stuff, but I don't really care about all of that. Because I know if I help enough people get what they want, ultimately I get what I want. See, I know that. And I'm one of these guys, money is just a tool. I don't measure my success on how much money I make on YouTube. That's not how I measure my success. Because see, I know how to make money on YouTube, off YouTube. I measure my success by the number of people I help. I measure my success by the number of one-on-one financial sessions I do where I talk with people one-on-one for an hour. That's how I measure my success. I measure my success from the DMs, the thousands of DMs people send me every single year, the thousands of emails I get every single year from people saying, Richard, the content, man, you putting out has changed my financial life. That's how I measure my success. Not about the money, man. I can make money anywhere. That's not going to fulfill me. What fulfills me is knowing that I'm doing something to help my fellow man and woman change something in their financial life. That's what fulfills me. Find something that fulfills you guys. Don't chase money. Chase your passion, chase your purpose. The money will come. Do something at some point in your life that brings you passion and brings you purpose, and the money will come. You want them 3 free stocks from Webull? Click on that link down in the description box. Open up your new Webull account today. Go get that free stock. Go get that free money. Stay healthy. Get wealthy in 2024. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing, share the video, smash the like button. Thoughts become things. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. You guys keep chasing your greatness. Never, ever, ever stop believing in yourself. And I'm gonna catch you guys tomorrow on the next video, the next live. It don't even matter. I'll be back tomorrow. I hope you guys stick around, or at least pop up, take a look at the videos tomorrow, or be a part of the live stream tomorrow. Peace.